back where I'm meant to be, in my office, not freezing to death, my laptop sounding like it's about to go into outer space. Hi lovers, it's Sav. Welcome back to Book It, and today we are doing the final video of February. If I am correct, I should be correct. Yes, we are. And we are finishing out our love month. So this month has all been about love. We started off with Britney Spears and her self-love. We then moved to the 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, which was our, LGBTQIA plus girly, but also married a lot of men. Gross. Then we did, our Hunting and Haunting Adeline duo, which is a love story. And then I did my love for the classics, for the Barnes & Noble's books. And then we did The Silent Wife, about the girl who, her husband. And now we're moving into Heartbones by Colleen Hoover. And this is going to be very controversial because Colleen Hoover is a author that I do not vibe with. I mentioned in another video prior to this, I don't have any intentions of reading any of her books. I read this book. My mom bought it for me. So yes, but I have not read another book by her, I don't think. Nope. I have a couple on my shelf, but I'm not touching them right now. They're not really my vibe at the moment. I'm separating the book from the author right now because she has done some really bad things. So she needs to pay for them. But let's start. Let's, completely just get it away. And let's focus on the book, Heartbones by Colleen Hoover. This book was sappy. I'm so shocked I was able to get through it because you know me, dark romance is my vibe. I love my dark romance. This was really cute, but the book reminded me a lot of Confess by Colleen Hoover, another book they're kind of like the same vibe. So this book starts off by telling us about a girl who finds her mom dead, and they live in a trailer, and immediately she's kicked out by the landlord because they were so behind on rent, and she ends up calling her dad and goes, "Can I come stay with you?" Even though she doesn't really talk to her dad anymore. And he's like, yeah, of course. During this time, we learn that she is in fact very poor. Her mom is a serious drug addict. That she does have a father, but they're not really close. He lives in Washington, and then she kind of realizes, like, oh, he moved to Texas. And that he sends money for her every month. And she never saw it, because of her mom. So after this, we learn that she is trying to get out of where she's from, because she lives in Kentucky, which is honestly relatable, because I live in Kentucky. I grew up here. And she basically is going to get out of the situation she's put in because everyone in her area either ends up becoming like her mom or they kind of get stuck, and she doesn't want that. She's actually really good at volleyball. It's what she plays. It's her sport. And she ends up getting a full ride to Penn State. So basically she just needs a place to stay until August when she can move into her dorm and then just be done with it forever. And that's what she's going to do. So she doesn't tell anybody she has this full ride scholarship. Not her dad, her mom didn't know, nobody knows. So basically she gets to Texas and she pretends to lose her luggage from the airline. And she doesn't want her dad to know how poor she actually is. She doesn't want her dad to know how bad life was because every time they talked, she was like, oh, everything's great. Everything's fine. And her dad didn't know that her mom was a serious drug addict. Didn't know it, that she was really fending for herself since she was little, basically. So she decides to keep it a secret that her mom's dead. On the ferry from their house to that, her dad lives on a beach, has a beach house, so that's where they're going to stay for the summer. On the ferry to the house, she meets a guy who ends up taking a photo of her eating bread off of the floor. Because she's starving and she's poor and she doesn't want to tell her dad that she hasn't eaten in days and she's hungry, and so they start this weird vibe where he's and she's like, oh, please don't post that, and he's like, I wouldn't post that anywhere, and he tries to give her money, and she's like, usually people that only give her money want a sexual favor in return, so she's like, no, it's fine, I don't want anything, and he's like, no, just take the money. So we end up finding out that he's the guy that lives next door named Samson. And she ends up becoming really good friends with her sister, Sarah. And then Marcus is Sarah's boyfriend. And they end up having a good summer. So she ends up flirting, with Samson. They start a little summer romance thing. And one day when they're out, they come across a body. And he's very quiet about it, and it affects him a lot. And he basically is like, this was my friend. He went missing in a hurricane, and you know, the hurricane came and my friend never came back, so he was just missing, presumed dead. And basically tells her to leave. So she goes ahead and just like goes back to her house, and she's really worried about him, but like she doesn't really want to say anything to him because he like got really quiet and kind of weird about it. So she's like, okay, cool. So we also learned that like Samson does like a lot of work around the island for just like spare cash or just like pro bono, just to kind of help out the locals, and he doesn't really like to talk about his parents. So one night she goes and she decides to stay the night at Samson's house, because you know, she's allowed to. And like they have a thing where they wake up every morning and they watch the sunrise together, and like it's really cute. Like they like, it's a very slow burn book. Other girls try hitting on him, he turns them down. Like when guys hit on her, he like defends her. It's like, you know. So she decides to spend the night at his house, and she wakes up to him literally like she wakes up and he's standing over the bed, and she's like, what's going on? He's like, I'm so sorry. I am so sorry. And she's like, what? And she realizes that police officers are there and they're like arresting him, and that she like gets up and she's like, what is going on? And basically we find out that he was never rich. He was squatting in homes all across the island. He said that his dad was like an Airbnb-er, and basically he would just bounce from place to place until something was empty. And that he had a warrant out for his arrest for arson, because apparently like he burned down one of the houses that he was squatting in, which like wild. And if like you hear the entire story, basically something caught fire due to like electrical issues, and he just happened to be squatting in that house at the time, so like it was like really not his fault. He was just on the property, so he got charged with being arson. The body that was found, that they found of the friend that was like from the hurricane, was actually his dad, and his mom died when he was little, so he didn't have anybody. He didn't know what to do, he didn't know where to go, so he decided just to stay on the island and, you know, be there. He ends up going to prison for 5 years. I'm pretty sure that's how long it is. And during this time he cuts off all communication with her, and he does not want to speak to her. So she tries to talk to anybody. She ends up going to the lady that lived like on the other side of like Samson's house, wherever he was staying, and she talks to him because she's an older lady that like he helped out a lot. Like he fixed her roof, he did so much work for her, because she was by herself and her son never came to visit, but her son was a lawyer. So she goes to the son's house. What's her name? Bea is her name. Bea goes to this lady's house and is like, can I call your son to basically represent Samson? And she's like, yeah, go for it. And they're like, cute. So she's like, what did he do? And Bea basically tells this lady like, oh my gosh, he was charged with this. And this lady's like, I don't believe this. Like, this boy was too sweet. Like, no, he's helped me. Like, he's never asked me for a dime. Like, I've given him food, but he's never asked me for a penny. And she's like, no, this is like what's going on. Like, it's really sad. And like the ladies on the island like helped a lot with trying to like get him as much as possible, but he does end up getting sentenced to 5 years in federal prison, and he doesn't even put her on the list, even though she calls every week this lawyer and goes, please put me on a list to talk to him, and the lawyer's like, no, he won't put you on a list. I can't do anything. It's out of my hands. So basically we get to the ending, and she's waiting outside this prison, and when he gets out, he walks over to her and she tells him like, he's like, I hope you didn't waste your life on me. And she's like, no, I went to college. She was getting her master's in law because she thought that the justice system was really messed up, and she doesn't want people to slip through the cracks, kind of like how she did and how he did, because they both were kind of abandoned by the system that was like supposed to help them. So she's like, I want to make it better. So she makes sure she lives her life to the fullest. She even tells him like, yeah, I dated a guy for a while in college, and it was like no one compared to you. So basically he was like, okay, can I go? I want to go see the ocean. He loves the ocean, that's the thing. She's like, yeah, let's go. So they get back to the beach where he always wanted to go, you know, like where he loved to be. And the lawyer calls him and is like, hey, just so you know, like that lady passed away, which I think it was his mom. Like the lawyer, you know, the lady that helped get him, you know, any sort of help. She passed away and was super, super helpful, and Samson did a lot for her. It's very upsetting that she's gone. I apologize for your loss. Here's the deed to her house. And she gave it to him so he would always have a place to live, because she was like helped so much. So it's like, oh, so We learned that Bea ends up making amends with her father, like they're officially like fine, and Sarah and Marcus are expecting a child, and they're like still together and everything. The book is really, really sappy. I was taken back by the whole jail trope. I didn't really think that was going to be a thing, but like it was really cute. It was a cute little short story. It was a good palate cleanser. It was a really fast read. I think I read this book in like 2 or 3 hours. Like it was just really like, I mean, it was like what, like 300 pages? Yeah, no, 340 pages. So like it's really cute. Like it really is. And you know, that way they always have a place to live. My mom bought this book for me. I think I said that in my other book. My mom bought this book for me because it's about a girl who lived in Kentucky. Granted, my life was nothing like this at all growing up. I'm just a girl from Kentucky, and that's all my mom saw and was like, oh my gosh, like, she's an athlete, like, that's you. And I was like, Mom, come on. But no, super, super sappy. Love it a lot. Overall, I gave this book a 4 out of 5 because it was a really good, quick read, easy read. And the smut was a 2 out of 5 because there was no smut. That's about it for this. Thank you, so much for watching. Please make sure you like and subscribe. It helps me out so much more than you can possibly think. Also, make sure you follow me on Goodreads. That's where I update all of our stuff on here. So this will be up there before this is even posted, even though this is going out at the end of February. But no, that's it for now. Thank you so much, and until next time,